I had this awareness of all this plastic waste and I couldn't contribute to it. I mean, I found a passion in treating tooth decay and I found another one in treating the decay here on the planet that we are leaving behind simply by brushing our teeth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients podcast, sponsored by Cloud Dentistry, the Doc Sites, and Dental Intelligence. And I want to thank the sponsors, as I always do, for putting their support behind me and what I stand for. Today's episode is called, Is Your Dental Care Decaying the Planet? And we're going to be talking about things such as plastic waste. We're going to talk about her product called Get Mouthy. We're going to talk about other ways to reduce the carbon footprint in the dental practice and green the operatories. So please welcome to the Raving Patients podcast, Lynda Sherman. Lynda, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm so flattered that you asked. Thank you.
Well, one of the things I like to do is I kind of like to introduce some of the up and coming or the newer products and people in the industry. And I know that you have this product that you were at the dental festival with. You went in front of the tank, the dental Shark Tanks or whatever it was called, with Dental Tank, with Elijah Desmond and his creation at that event. So I saw you were there and I said, this may be something really cool to talk about. So first off, Lynda, to begin with, as I always do, why don't we tell people who you are, what you do, what your background is, and a little bit about your product.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, I'm Lynda Sherman, and the typical introduction, I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I've been practicing dentistry as an expanded functions for about 30 years. I recently created a biodegradable, eco-friendly dental subscription box, and it is called Get Mouthy. So everything inside of this box, again, it's all natural, it's chemical-free, and it's biodegradable, which is fantastic. I came up with the idea and the product because after a the longevity in dentistry, I kind of became appalled by the repetitiveness of tooth decay, and I want to make a change, right? I mean, we know it's preventable. So I created a nonprofit organization, and I learned that it takes a lot to fund a nonprofit organization. So to help fund it, I decided to put together a dental subscription box to aid in the funding. It is designed for every purchase of a Get Mouthy kit, the initial kit, there will be a donation of a toothbrush kit to the nonprofit. Well, as I was designing this box, I had this awareness of all this plastic waste and I couldn't contribute to it. I mean, I found a passion in treating tooth decay and I found another one in treating the decay here on the planet that we are leaving behind simply by brushing our teeth. So that's what I came with this creation of Get Mouthy. I'm a little backwards entrepreneur, came up with the name first and the logo second and the idea to be completely eco-friendly. And what's wonderful is I have a product that is kind of very innovative. It's a tooth soap. And again, like I said, it's vegan. It is all natural. It's chemical free, which is fantastic. And it foams up, which is nice. And we're not having any harmful plastic. And it has led into something bigger. I'm realizing in the operatories too, we are totally rotting our planet by plasticking everything. We have become such a disposable world that we're destroying. I mean, it's awful. So here I am jumping out of the clinical role of dentistry, though I do love it, and trying to save our planet and save our teeth at the same time.
Well, that's great. I mean, I love hearing stories like that. Obviously, many people know that I kind of had an idea. I went with it and I sold to a much bigger company, Bird Eye, almost 8 years ago now. So I'm all about creating a product and getting it out there. So let's talk a little bit about the background here. So obviously you're an EFTA, and I know you mentioned that you love treating tooth decay and that you wanted to treat the decay of the planet. But talk about, how you came up with this idea. What was the impetus for creating this product? I know you wanted to give back with a nonprofit. So just give people the background about that as well.
So the nonprofit organization is designed to inspire the world to live a dental disease-free life. I mean, we all know this. I mean, in dentistry, we know it is preventable. And it really is our habits that is causing tooth decay. And I just feel that I have something different that I can present to the world, perhaps, and maybe change everybody's minds. I mean, I'm hopeful, right? So here's this nonprofit organization, and I had this hard realization that it takes a lot of time and effort, right, to fund nonprofits, especially when you do it right when a pandemic starts, because that's when I got fully tax exempt. And I even thought with my gift of gab, right, I could get this nonprofit rolling, and wasn't so easy. So just kind of thinking with this entrepreneur group that I have, and we were just kind of brainstorming, and we came up with this idea of a residual income to come in that would assist with the nonprofit. So here comes this box. And I'm like, this would be great. I wanted to kind of compete with the Ipsies of the world, or the Dollar Shave Clubs, or the Bark Boxes, right? And have a subscription that comes to your home with all of your dental care. With my connections in dentistry, I first initially thought I would make it more of an upscale with your electric toothbrush, fancy floss and some, toothpaste that you can't find on the shelf. But when I started to look into that, I'm realizing every single item that's being used is plastic, and is a single use plastic. These batteries in these electric toothbrushes, the batteries also is a chemical, and they are literally just thrown into a landfill, and they're not going anywhere. I mean, if people really think that there is a tooth fairy that's going to come and get your garbage and, whisk it away to the clouds, that's not what happens. Truthfully, your garbage goes in the planet somewhere. It's going to go into a landfill. It's going to go into the ocean. I learned a fact, statistically, they indicate that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than there'll be fish. And sometimes it's hard to look, that far out and be like, that's not that, it's really far away, but it's not. I have a 9-year-old daughter. By the time she's 37, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And I was just appalled by it. So I'm like, I can't do this. I could not, I just leave it in my heart. I can't put this box together and contribute to rotting out our planet. And I'm like, well, let's just find some alternative ways to make it all completely, biodegradable, compostable, earth-friendly. So with some research, it's a bamboo toothbrush, which is wonderful. I mean, that's not, anything that's really innovative, but a bamboo toothbrush is really great. And it has some other bamboo products too. And bamboo it's fully natural, right? And it composts on its own. However, now we got to replace your toothpaste, which is your biggest challenge, right? And it's challenging because not only is it plastic, but people do think you can recycle this stuff. You can't. Even if you open up that toothpaste tube and you clean it out and make sure there's no toothpaste, in there, you still can't recycle that tube. And when I was looking, what else was available, I can see like those little tablets, those little chew things. And I just don't think that appeals. I mean, that doesn't appeal to me. Chewing like on the Altoid candy, like that's just crunchy. It's like chalk to brush your teeth. So anyhow, me and a girlfriend, we're hanging out in the afternoons. We have, children about the same age. We're having like a little play date. And we're talking about Get Mouthy, right? Because like I told you, I was a backwards entrepreneur. So I thought of the name first. So here we are, Get Mouthy. And we were just talking about how when we got mouthy with our moms, when we were younger, I'm from that generation, I literally have had my ass pulled out of a room and had my mother wash my mouth out with soap. So here's this conversation. We're like, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fantastic if with Get Mouthy, if that is my toothpaste alternative, is a tooth soap? And that's how that idea came about. And that's exactly what the product has. We have a tooth soap. So it comes in a 1x2 bar. It is in a bamboo container. So, bamboo naturally provides, an antibacterial environment, and it is aerated out, between usage. It is completely natural. It is made with coconut oil, which I realize naturally contains fluorine. It is the natural element, that was intended here on Earth. So I think that's a huge added benefit that coconut oil alone, is remineralizing in my opinion. And then we have it being antibacterial. So coconut oil, the research indicates it helps fight the S mutans that cause tooth decay, right? And then we have the fact that it's antifungal. So sometimes I think of, you have your infants that might, you still want to brush their teeth, but maybe they're dealing with thrush issues, or even the elderly. Well, coconut oil helps fight that as well. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is even better. And then we throw some other things in there, but it's really just coconut oil and essential oils. And a little bit of xylitol in there, and it foams up, and I'm like, brilliant. This is just brilliant, right? Get Mouthy. We have tooth soap. And again, it's completely natural, which is fantastic. So here we have this project. That's how it came about.
Perfect. So you talk about this tooth soap. And you just described it, which was going to be one of my questions, but you beat me to that. So that was great. But talk about, how do you use a tooth soap when you're so used to using a tube and squeezing it out? So talk to people about using this actual process.
So I have designed it where it is in a bamboo soap dish. It does have a lid on it, obviously. So it's a soap dish that's aerated at the bottom. The 1x2 tooth soap bar just sits right inside of that with a lid. So it's pretty simple. I just take my toothbrush and I get it wet. So I like the bristles wet. I find out that the wetter the bristles are, the more foam you have. So you can definitely design it, around your foam level. Get your toothbrush bristles wet, and I just take the lid off, set it down, hold up the bottom, and rub my bristles right on top of the soap. It foams up. set it back down, brush my teeth, and voila. So it's a very simple concept. That soap dish is reusable, obviously. So you'll just replenish the soap as you need to.
Interesting. That's really cool how you figured it out. So talk about what else comes in the actual Get Mouthy box when you actually get it.
Absolutely. So we have your initial kit. So in your initial kit, you're going to have a travel tube. And again, it's bamboo. It is aerated. I love to travel and I love to keep my toothbrush very safe, all the time, even in a hotel. Like I just think sometimes when we travel, we have housekeeping come, in and out. My toothbrush has got to be like top secret, put away. Nobody touches it. Nobody sees it. It's not out, even if I have roommates, right? Like I'm very picky about my toothbrush. So we have a travel tube and then you have your toothbrush itself. We have a countertop little bamboo holder for your toothbrush. I know sometimes the toothbrushes, the sizes of them don't always fit in the container that you have. So not only do we provide one for you, but it has my logo and it's really cute. So why not display it as well? So you have your travel tube, your toothbrush, your bamboo toothbrush holder. And then we also have a bamboo floss, which is really nice. It's a bamboo fiber. So the floss, I don't know about you, as a dental person, maybe we're a little crazy about flossing our teeth, but I'll floss in the car. And I love the fact that I can floss in the car. I can throw it out the window, right? Because it's completely biodegradable. So it comes in a glass container with a little metal lid on it. So glass itself is a natural product. So as it, decomposes into the earth, if you do choose to throw it away, it'll go back to its natural product. The metal lid, of course, is recyclable, but you'll just refill the bamboo toothbrush, the bamboo dental floss. So it's a bamboo fiber, and it does have charcoal. I mean, it makes it black, which is great, and it's an in thing. So that's that. And then the last is the bamboo, or is the tooth soap. So we have the bamboo soap dish as well as the bar. So that's what the items come with: your tube, your toothbrush, the holder, the floss refillable container, the floss itself, it's 200 yards, and then the soap dish. That's your initial kit. Then what we'll have is obviously your auto ship refillable. So your toothbrush will be coming to you every 2 months. I love having my toothbrush a little more frequently, but I think 2 months is great. So that is an auto ship 2 months for your toothbrush. When it comes to the refill of floss and the refill of soap, that will come in 6 months. You obviously, get your notification beforehand to make sure that you don't want to change any flavors or colors, but it is meant to be a subscription box.
Gotcha. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's get away from your actual product and let's talk about the green initiative. Let's talk about plastic waste. Let's talk about the things that are really potentially hurting the planet, and how we in the office can help that. Because as you said, we really have a ton of things in plastic in the office and we're hurting the planet. So talk about that.
Oh my gosh, we can talk forever on that too. Just this simple concept of plastic barriers. I mean, that is, I think, a number one first step, right? They are non-critical areas and we feel like we have to freaking plastic everything. We want to plastic everything. And you know what, women, if you haven't paid attention of going to the OBGYN where your butt is on, literally your bare butt is on, a table, what have you, they don't plastic this stuff. So let's think about this. We plastic everything in dentistry and it's very excessive. So that alone can be eliminated. And I promise you by OSHA, you do not need to plastic this stuff. They are considered a non-critical area. But I've actually what we spend per patient. So I've even tallied this out. So from a doctor's standpoint, right? You guys think about money. You think about profitability. I think about the planet. Just stop putting those little blue wrappers on your light handles or putting a chair cover on because we wipe them down anyhow, right? We all do. So those things are excessive, but literally one chair operatory spends just on those simple plastic barriers over $2,100 a year. Just one chair alone. Just one chair. And that's just the plastics. I'm just talking about just putting the light handles on, putting a chair cover on, putting a sleeve over top of your x-ray hand, like your x-ray. Just those little simple things alone per chair is over $2,100. And you're just throwing this stuff away and it's not necessary. We can continue. I can go into having your teeth cleaned. The disposable prophy angles that we're throwing away. The prophy paste, you get them in those little itty bitty plastic containers when you can buy it in a jar. And I've been in dentistry long enough. When I first got into dentistry, our prophy angles, they were autoclavable. They were metal, right? You just replace the cup itself. And our prophy paste did come in jars. That's how it was. We have completely flip-flopped to such convenience where we want to plastic everything to throw it away. And I mean, the amount of money that we can save truly by getting back to the old school metal, where we can sterilize these items and get away from all this plastic disposable. I mean, we're saving the planet and you're going to save money. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? Seriously.
What's the alternative? And I know you said from an OSHA perspective, you don't have to plasticize everything, but what is the alternative? Leave it with nothing on there? Are there other alternatives that people can use? Or you just, like you did say that, when you're at the OBGYN, your butt's on the table, and the butt's a dirtier place than our hands most of the time. So, what is there an alternative, or you just learn to just not have plastic on those things?
Just don't have plastic on those things. I mean, that's the simple. I mean, of course, we're at the OBGYN and they do have a piece of paper, right? So we got tray covers and stuff like that. I get it, but you just leave them be. And you think, oh my gosh, I mean, why aren't we burying this? Well, we wipe it down anyhow. I mean, I'm a clinical person. We take them off and we wipe them down anyhow. So you still have to be, to appreciate infection control, but just eliminate the plastic altogether. It's more than acceptable to completely wipe down the headrest cover that somebody else's head has been on. I mean, we're wiping down a countertop that probably had spit and blood on it. We don't think about that, right? But just do the headrest cover. I mean, it's a real simple thing. And the bib clips too. I mean, I wipe them down every time, spray them and wipe them, but I bet you, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I know people don't do that. And like, seriously, think of ring around the collar, right? Like people's necks are dirty and you're reusing these bib clips and setting them on the countertop. And let's really kind of stop and think about what we're doing. Let's just appropriately spray, wipe things down with what we're supposed to, and just be natural, be naked. It's okay.
You talked about bib clips. I had an issue with how dirty those things got. And so a long time ago in the practice, we switched to ones that are just stretchy, but they're like toss away. You throw them away. They are disposable, but they literally have a sticky thing on each end, and you literally attach them to the bib, and you just toss them out with the bib clip when you're done, with the bib when you're done.
Well, see, now you're adding to the plastic waste. I mean, those little stretchy things, you have to remember that you have to make something too. So there's emissions involved in just making those products, and they have metal bib clips. I mean, they do. They have metal bib clips, and why not buy some of those and sterilize them? I mean, pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't like how dirty and disgusting those were, so right? we obviously many years ago made a change there. But I don't know if there's any. I don't think they're plastic though. I think it's just the paper.
Well, the sticker. Think of the sticker, right? Because you got to peel off those little things.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I get nitpicky. I mean, sometimes we just get the smallest little things. I mean, they all add up. They do.
We talked about the bib clips. We talked about the Prophy paste and the Prophy, the Prophy angles. What other things in the operatory do you think we can change over to remove the plastic in the office?
To remove the plastic in the office, I mean, I think of sterilization, pouches too. I really kind of think about, let's go back to almost dental school, right? Where we have the nice stainless steel cassettes. Remember, we have the stainless steel cassettes, and those cassettes go bigger than just reducing the sterilization pouches, which, by the way, are recyclable. You got to separate them from the plastic, from the paper, and you have to obviously facilitate recycling. They are. But I do think about those stainless steel metal cassettes that we had in dental school. And getting back to those are two-folded, right? We're eliminating the sterilization pouches. Even if you recycle them, remember there's emissions involved in making things. But then also all of your instruments stay in there too. When I find out in dental offices, right, because of maybe the expense, we want to sterilize just the composite instruments by themselves and the syringe by themselves, right? And then a mouth block by itself and the bib clips by itself. Well, put everything back into those stainless steel cassettes, every single item, right? We're not losing them. So that's going to increase your profitability because it's going to reduce your overhead of rebuying things over and over because instruments are lost. They just are. No matter what happens, instruments are lost, thrown away, what have you. But then that also reduces your pouches because there are alternatives, which, would be like your blue paper, which would be great, which is fully recyclable and it's compostable. You remember like back in dental school. So that's another really great way to eliminate your plastic is to, again, let's get back to kind of some old school stuff that truly does work. And we're going to eliminate your disposable plastic HVE tip, right? I mean, we can go to something that is that's autoclavable as well. And if anybody says, oh, it might poke a patient, you know what? If you stab a patient in the cheek, it doesn't matter if it's a plastic HVE or it's a sterilizable HVE, you still poked them. So let's move on, about that. So, but even preparation, itself, I mean, we could keep going. Being prepared in advance because now you're thinking about your gloves, right? Think about how often you change gloves. So I highly encourage a lot of preparation. Think about what you need, get everything out. And those cassettes help that too, right? So we're eliminating the plastics, but then you're eliminating, all the up and down, because it happens, right? So if we have that good organization, gloves itself, every time you put on a pair of gloves, right? Every time. And we pretty much always have a left and a right unless one breaks. So if you're getting cheap gloves, generic gloves, which which is perfectly fine, but if we're doing that, they do probably break more often. But every time you slip on a pair, it's 20 cents. Every time. And that's a lot. Throughout the day, how many you are. Now, if you have more of a name brand, so if you like the fancier ones, they're more like 30 cents a pair. So that's another great way, again, to eliminate some of the plastic is being prepared. Getting back to the old school, let's use those cassettes. We're going to eliminate some sterilization pouches too, some HVE tips.
Wow, interesting. And there's a lot of things you can do. It's kind of a mindset change that you have to have in order to do it, and have everybody kind of understand the damage they're doing to the environment potentially. And like I said, we were taught that there's so much bacteria, so many potential infection control issues by using these items and sterilizing them versus going to plastic. Now there's almost a shift in the way we have to think about it to go back to the old school way, like you talked about.
Well, you're so right. I think of air, water, syringe tips. That has been a thing too. I have sat through OSHA meetings where they talk about the nasty biofilm inside of them. I totally encourage the reusable or the metal, air, water, syringe tips. They do make, little, cleaners, like they're itty bitty, like little pipe cleaners. So if you wish to purchase those, that's great. You can purge them with air. That's kind of where biofilm kind of comes in. But, ultimately, again, let's think about all the things that we're using that goes through sterilizers. Let's just make sure that things are sterilized well. But totally, air, water, syringe tips. Please get back to the metal ones because those disposable. Seriously, you're using one or two per patient. They cost a lot of money and they just, fill up the landfill. So
yeah, thinking about the operatory right now, as I'm looking and thinking about what we're doing, we violate all those different things that you don't. We have the plastic air, water, syringe tips. We have two of them. Obviously you need to replace them every so often when you're in a procedure. So we could be using 3 or 4 during a procedure. We don't use metal bib clips. We have the sterilization patches, all that stuff you're talking about, which adds up, because you have to use them over and over again. So I'm going to call the practice and tell them to make some changes once I'm done with this podcast episode. It's crazy. So let's talk about, as the last thing we want to talk about is other ways to reduce the carbon footprint. What other things in the office itself, not related to plastic per se, what are some other things in the office that we can do to be better for the environment?
Another one is to appreciate energy and where energy comes from, right? Energy is not free and energy is not healthy. It really is not. So energy comes from your computers. It comes from the lights. It comes from keeping x-ray, tubes on. So be very conscientious and simply turn things off. Turn off your x-ray unit when you're not using it. At the end of the night, I would encourage you just off topic to restart your computer because that's how it updates. But do a quick restart. Your IT probably wants it on. I'd encourage you to turn it off. Which if your IT guy is okay with that, turn your computer completely off. Shut them off and turn the screen off. Now, if your IT guy tells you keep your computer on, I get it. But your screen, do turn that off. And I know that people think that a screensaver comes on. The screensaver is still an energy sucker. So turn that off. So just be conscientious of turning off your equipment, turning off your machines. If you're not in the break room, turn the light off. If, obviously our air control, make sure that when you leave, you adjust the temperature. On the weekends, adjust your temperature. Be conscientious about water. We are so spoiled here. Well, we think, again, water is so easy to come by and it's plentiful where we're totally spoiled. We are spoiled because we have healthy, clean water and it is plentiful, but turn it off because not everybody does, right? So think about just your energy itself. Some other ways is in the kitchen. What are we doing with our coffee pods? I think of coffee pods. Can we go back to, just making a coffee pot? Those Keurigs they kill me. Let's think about even bringing our lunch in, packing our lunch in reusable containers. That's just being conscientious. I know it's not in the dental office, but you're bringing lunch in, bring in, your water in a metal container, right? So instead of having your disposable waters or have a water filter, if you want to in the operatories, just some basic, things like that. And if you can carpool, let's throw that in too, so energy is a big way that we can be conscientious, in the office itself. Let me think of some other great ways. We've talked about some products, our energy, efficiency, being prepared in advance and being digital, those kind of go hand in hand. But, those iTear machines I know that's a name brand. I'm just like Band-Aids and Q-tips, but let's get away from taking impressions. Impressions take time. Time is money, right? So we're reducing chair time with that. But there's trays that are involved. So if you're using trays, make them metal, but most of us are using disposable trays, and we're using all those polyvinyls. You got the plastic tube that they come in, and you have the polyvinyl and everything else that comes with it. So there is such a perk to being completely digital with your, Crown and Bridge or your dentures and things with the front office. Let's stop having people sign paperwork. Get a tablet, find some other ways to be efficient with that. You can have emails back and forth. We are in a digital world and it's wonderful, but eliminating, again, paper. You have to make paper, even though that you think it's biodegradable, but you still have to make it. And one of the biggest things is to understand to recycle. You recycle. And how do you recycle? You know what? Call your local community. They will tell you as a business how to recycle. And I'm going to tell you, recycling is actually cheaper than picking up your trash, because your trash is a service that they have to do something with, right? It's garbage. There's no demand for garbage. They got to process the garbage. But recycling, there is a demand for recycling. And I don't know if everyone knows that too. There is somebody who wants that cardboard. So the boxes that you're getting your supplies in, recycle that. Learn how to do that, because somebody wants that cardboard, and they actually kind of pay for it. So those are my tidbits.
Well, I think those are really good suggestions. And as you're going through things, I'm writing stuff down, because we are digital in the office. We don't take x-rays. We're fully digital that way. We have an entire, like 3 different scanners we use. So on that side, on the technology side, we're definitely well ahead of the game. On the product side, we definitely need to make some changes there as well. So before we move on to the next section, which is the Q&A, the lightning round Q&A, and we'll get your contact information and how to buy this box afterwards. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before I go to the next section?
Oh my goodness, I think I've talked a lot already.
All right, then we'll hit the ground running. We're going to do our Q&A with my app called the Poddex. We're going to talk about the business side of things through the hustle. So here's a couple things in the way this works. I'm going to ask you, answer it as quickly as you can. No long drawn out answers here. So if you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be?
My one piece of advice for someone who's just starting out is to be persistent and to accept the fact that you are going to go at your own pace. Entrepreneurship or any journey, right? Everybody has their own pace, and it's fully acceptable.
Okay. What would you say are the top 3 skills that you need to be successful?
You definitely need to be outgoing enough to network. I've learned that myself. You have to be able to talk to people and to be able to pick up a phone and be comfortable with it. That's a huge skill. Another one is follow through. That is something that's very important for success too, is not only can you talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. So make sure that you follow through. And another one is the miracle mornings. Get your butt up, get going in the morning, get productive, because once you feel good and you get things going, I think that there is a domino effect and the rest of your day is going to turn out the best it can as well.
I think that's great. That was a good one. So what deserves all of your attention but seldom gets it?
Oh, that would be my husband, I would have to say. My husband is a really great guy. He deserves attention. I've had a friend tell me before that my husband will always be there, but my kid will grow up and be on her own, so she should be second. I'm so sorry. I love my daughter. She is number 1. She's 1A, my husband's 1B, but he deserves more attention. But unfortunately, entrepreneurship and motherhood, kind of gets more attention than he does, and he does deserve it. So, Jeff, if you hear this, I love you, honey. I'm sorry. Someday we'll have a date night.
All right. Has anyone in your network been important to your journey?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to say the biggest one is going to be Elijah Desmond. I met him back in 2017 at ADOM, and I didn't know anybody. It was just my local ADOM chapter, and when I met him, obviously, the introductions, the door had opened, and I had to put the investment in, but meeting him has changed my world. Absolutely.
I had a feeling you were going to say that too. So I would have wrote that down and guessed it. That would have been my guess. What profession do you think is the most undervalued today?
Can I just say, really, any skilled trade is undervalued. We don't need a college education to be most successful in life. We're going to need mechanics. We're going to need plumbers. We're going to need electricians. So I think just a basic skilled trade is a wonderful value to have, and it's a rewarding career. Most definitely undervalued.
Okay, what have you given up on that you wish you'd never had?
Oh, being an actress. If I had to do anything over again, I totally would have run off to Hollywood and done that. I'm taking acting lessons, and I was responsible and had a career, but most definitely I'd love to go on the red carpet and be in the spotlight.
All right. Here's an interesting one. How did you make your first sale?
Just by having friends and asking for it on Facebook. I mean, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, just put it out there on social media. And thank goodness I have friends who believe in me.
What have you read online recently that has inspired you?
Do I have to read it? Can it be some I'm listening to? I've been listening to, Think and Grow Rich. I've been listening to that audiobook, and it's the first time I've done that. And, there's always good nuggets out of everything, but I'm really, enjoying listening to that book. And, you know what? There was actually one I listened to on the way down to Nashville for the dental festival. And I forget when that one was, but darn it, let me just forget about that because I forget the topic of that book. But Think and Grow Rich. I mean, most definitely I've been enjoying that topic.
What distracts you the most every day?
My daughter does. She, like I told you, she's 1A, and I will drop anything to make her happy and to love her and to make sure I spend as much time with her as I can.
Do you keep a journal, and does it help you?
No, I've tried, but I got too much stuff going on to sit in journal. Nope. I've tried.
What has been your most satisfying moment in business up till now?
Oh, my most satisfying moment would be, at the dental tank, I'm going to say, to be able to pitch my idea and have, big shot investors love the idea and want to be involved. I mean, that was extremely rewarding. I mean, definitely I was on cloud nine.
Okay. And last one, if you had to open up a lemonade stand tomorrow, what would you call yours?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Suck it. I don't know. I'm thinking of a lemon. I'm going to suck a lemon, and I probably have tequila, underneath the table. So suck it. Don't be sour.
That's great. That's unique. I thought you'd say Lynda's lemonade or something like that.
So no, unique. That's too easy.
So that was great, Lynda. You did really well. That was one of the best Q&As I've done.
I was just going to say my journals. I've got, from a business standpoint, I'm thinking like journaling, like a diary, right? Like when we're like little girls and we diary and stuff, what my feelings are. But I got some business journals, it's kind of amazing. I think of like if I ever pass away and my husband goes through, my thought process. So I do actually have two of them with me. So
I have a business journal right here. I keep by my side. All my big ideas are in here. So, so Lynda, how can people learn more about Get Mouthy? How can they purchase it? How can they contact you for more information?
Well, first of all, jump on my website for Get Mouthy, and it's pretty simple, getmouthybox.com, and it's spelled exactly the way that you would, getmouthybox.com. So that is the website where you can purchase the initial box. It's $45.99, and I'll get that shipped out to you immediately. You get to pick your color, and you get to pick your flavor of your tooth soap.
And then if they have any questions for you directly, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, you're more than welcome to shoot me an email, and it's Lynda with a Y, Lynda, EFDA @gmail.com, or you can just simply get on my website, which is Lynda Sherman. Again, Lynda with a Y, LyndaSherman.com, and there is a contact button there. You can just click on that and shoot me an email as well.
Great. Lynda, you have an infectious personality. I love your how happy you seem. I love your just how bubbly you are. I don't get that from all my guests, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being part of this podcast, guys. If you want to learn more about Get Mouthy Get Mouthy, reach out to Lynda. Go to her website and check it out. A product she said is $45.99. She'll get it shipped out to you. You get to pick the colors and everything else. Lynda, I really appreciate you being part of this podcast. If you liked the episode, please share it. Please let your colleagues know about it. Please tell them about Lynda's box that's available for purchase now. Help her out if you can. I want to thank the sponsors of, once again, the doc sites, Cloud Dentistry, and Dental Intelligence for their support. If you like the episode, please review us as well. Reviews are really, really important. I see them coming in, so I appreciate everybody doing that. And I always want to end these podcasts. Remember, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Lynda, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to everyone soon.